Good morning or good afternoon, guys. Today we'll be watching a Quizzette video on Quizzette 605. As always, make sure you write your last name, comma, first name, today's date, and class color. Today I'll say that I'm purple. Number 1 on the Quizzette will always have a list of rational numbers, and it's either going to ask you to put them in order from least to greatest or greatest to least. Last week we did a homework assignment where some of us got mixed up and we automatically put them in order from least to greatest without actually reading the question. So make sure that you read number 1 very carefully each day. As you can tell, it's already changing from Monday number 1 and Tuesday number 1, where Monday number 1 is asking you for the least to the greatest, and Tuesday is already asking you for the opposite, greatest to least. So make sure you put them in the designated order. So number 1, it says put these numbers from least to greatest. We have 4 16/20, 16/20, negative 4 over 40, negative 4 5 over 25. So I would reduce these fractions automatically. I can tell that this fraction can be reduced. So it would be 4 goes into 16 4 times, and then 4 goes into 25 times. So that's the reduced version. Or the simplified version. Negative 4/10 can be reduced. I think 4 goes into both of those. Negative 4 goes into 4 one time, and then 4 goes into 40 10 times. And the last one is negative 4 5 over 25. 5 goes into both 5 and 25, so that would be reduced to negative 4. 5 goes into 5 one time. 5 goes into 25 5 times. Okay, now that I reduced them, I can put them in order from least to greatest. And I can tell you that negative 4 1/5 is a lot farther from 0 than negative 4/10 is. So this would be the smallest number. The next number would be negative 1/10. And the greatest number in this sequence of numbers is the positive 4 4/5. So that's the order. Another way you can put it in order is the unreduced form, the unsimplified form. I don't even know if that's a word because everything in math should be simplified. You could put them in order in their original form, but that wouldn't be mathematically precise, and I want them in this order right here. Number 2 is going to ask you for the coordinates of the figures or the letter. So the first one is saying lightning. So you would locate lightning. And I noticed that it's at so when you write a coordinate, I don't know if you guys know this, you write it in order from X and Y. This is the X axis and this is the Y axis. Go ahead and write this down. Now the X axis is right here where the red writing is right here. And if I want the coordinates of the lightning, I have to count positive 1, positive 2, positive 3, positive 4. So I know it's at positive 4, comma, and then we go up in the Y axis, in the Y direction, which is right here. So we count 1, positive 2, positive 3, positive 4, positive 5, positive 6, positive 7, positive 8. So we know that the lightning is at positive 4, positive 8. And remember, a coordinate is always written with parentheses and a comma. The music note, where's the music note? Oh, there it is. Okay, so we have to put it in order from X to Y. As I was saying, make sure that when you write a coordinate, it has parentheses and it has a comma between the X coordinate and the Y coordinate. So the music note is at positive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's at positive 9 for the X axis. And for Y, it is at positive 7. Something to note is that there's a positive side to the X axis and then there's a negative side. Similarly, there is a positive Y axis and a negative Y axis. So the negative Y axis would be right here. So it'd be negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, so on and so forth. You don't have to fill out the rest. And then the X axis is negative on the left. So -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and so on and so forth. I don't want you to write all the numbers because you're not going to use this graph, this exact one again. Let's see. What are the coordinates to the red X? Remember, parentheses and a comma between them. The red X is located on the second quadrant. I don't know if you guys can see this, but there's a Roman numeral for 2. This is the first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, and then this is the fourth quadrant. It's always going to be in this order. It doesn't matter what level of math you're in. When we're talking about the Cartesian plane or the X and Y plane, which is this right here, this is quadrant 1, this is quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. So in quadrant 2, we see the red X, and it is located at -4 and +2. -4 and +2. So make sure that you put your positives and you put your negatives for these graphs because it does count here. -4, +2. Number 3, those are direct screenshots from the quiz that you were going to be taking on Wednesday in my class. So if you want to take a glance at the questions, get a feel for them, you can today. But please don't answer all of them unless I tell you to. So let's see. Number 3, 4 workers are repairing a bridge at these distances from the roadway. So 4 workers are repairing a bridge at these distances from the roadway. Worker 1 is 7 feet below the roadway. Worker 2 is 13 feet above the roadway. Worker 3, 13 feet below the roadway. Worker 4, at the roadway. Write the distances in order from highest to lowest. So let's just jot down what integers are represented with each worker. So worker 1 is 7 feet below the roadway, so that's -7. Worker 2 is 13 feet above the roadway, so that's +13. Worker 3 is 13 feet below the roadway, so that's -13. And then worker 4 is at the roadway. What integer do you think is at the roadway? It's probably 0, because that's the starting point. Or like at sea level, it's at the roadway. Write the distances in order from highest to lowest. So worker 2 is probably the highest. Then it's worker 4, which is 0. And then it would be worker 1, which is -7. And finally, it would be worker 3, which is -13. Now we could go the extra mile and say worker 2, then worker 4, worker 1, and then worker 3. That's the order from highest to lowest. So make sure you read these carefully because they can trick you. You might, if you're doing this quickly, you might just think, oh, put them in order from least to greatest because that's how it was in last week's Quizzette or the week before. And that's not the case. You have to read each question carefully. Good luck on this Quizzette. And as always, if you have questions, please raise your hand. Don't talk to your group.